Hello, Matthew Posselt here, Perth's first home buyer coach. Now the topic today that I want to talk about is how much can you borrow? So this is a really varying sort of question. Now it's best to come and see me and we can go through a lot of the information together and determine that. So there's lots of banks that have different calculators and they all calculate your borrow capacity differently. So what we do is we need to work out your income and then how the bank will use your income. So sometimes you might be in a casual employment job. So some banks will use 100%, some will use 92%, some will use 48 weeks. A lot of banks use different methods in using and applying your casual income and how they'll service it. Then you also have part-time and full-time, and you may have allowances, overtime, bonuses, other things like that too. So we need to look at those and see what bank policy is and how different banks will use those. Again, some might use 100%, some might use 80%, some might need to see those recurring on a consistent basis all the time. There's lots of different variables. Then your living costs. So your living costs that you determine, which you tell me and go through your statements, showing your groceries, your phones, or your normal sort of household bills and expenses, all the banks look at those slightly differently too. Now, often they do rely on a low benchmark, but we do look through your statements to find out exactly how much you're spending, which will help determine how much you can afford. They then also look at your debts, so things like other existing home loans, personal loans, credit cards, any other debts you have, and they'll factor those in too. So sometimes there'll be a little bit of a buffer on those just in case they were to change, or sometimes they'll use the exact repayments. So when we factor all these different things into a calculator, it will give a different borrowing capacity. And that also is determined by the banks, how they feel to assess your type of industry, your job, potentially the location and address of your property, and just the whole scenario. So it's very important that as a finance specialist that I gather all your information and then we put it into different bank calculators and determine what your borrowing capacity is with each different lender. So it's not just a simple plug it into an online calculator and find a magical answer. There's a lot that goes into it to find out exactly how much you can borrow. Thank you.